Coach Park. Join with us is head coach Mel Tucker. Coach, if you'd like to have some opening comments, and we'll take questions.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thanks, Ben. Yeah, I really, again, wanted to thank our medical staff and personnel. They have done a great job of helping to keep us safe and giving us the ability to continue to practice and play. Sally, Nogel, Dr. Kovan, and the entire medical staff has done an outstanding job in these very tough times, and so really appreciate and wanted to acknowledge them. And like as I said last week, we have to give ourselves a better chance to win. Turnovers, penalties, and field position. Those things just are very, very obvious that, if you take care of the ball, you're penalty free, and you win the field position battle, you give yourself a much better chance to win. And in the games that we've lost, we haven't done that. So the focus this week is going to be on playing complementary football. That's offense, defense, and special teams working together. And along with that, that's taking care of the football on offense and taking the ball away on defense. Winning the field position battle. Being effective on special teams, and it really comes down to execution. We did something different yesterday. We watched the continuous copy of the game, the first half of the game, as an entire football team. The guys that traveled, and usually when you watch the game, you watch it, offense and defense and special teams separately. And I've done that. I've done that before, and it gives everyone a better perspective, and it allows the guys on the other side of the ball to see what's really happening and see how everyone fits in to how the pieces to the puzzle fit, and how you need to play complementary football, and how one side of the ball affects another side of the ball. And also shows everyone, how actually close we are to being able to make a play. And so in that regard, it's gives the guys better perspective, and everyone can see what everyone is doing or not doing. And it may sound crazy, but it actually shows you how close you are to, how really close you are to being able to have success on the field on a consistent basis. So the team continues to push. We had a good practice yesterday. Attitudes are good. We're dealing the truth. So everyone knows what the deal is, and we're continuing to evaluate and work to get better. And so thank God that we still have another opportunity to play and practice, so we can to build to be the type of team that we know that we can be. I really appreciate you guys coming out today on these Zoom deals. I know it can be a little fatiguing at times, but I really appreciate you guys covering our team and carrying the message out, to our fans. But we certainly understand that there's a standard of performance that we have not lived up to on a consistent basis, and we're working hard to get to that. Our fans deserve that. So, and we owe it to ourselves to give ourselves the best chance as well. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with Justin Rose at WXYZ in Detroit.
Hey, good afternoon, Mel. Have you definitely heard you guys are playing Maryland? What's the status with that team at this particular point in time? And if for whatever reason they wouldn't be able to play this weekend, would you guys look to play someone else?
From all indications that everything I've been told, they're trying to play, and so we're preparing to play. And I know that they want to play. I talked to Locks this morning for a long time. We had a good talk. I know they want to play, and so we're preparing to play.
Okay, just to follow that up, I know you said that the consistency hasn't been where you would have liked it to be, but at the same time, with all the factors that come into play, you know, COVID shutting down spring, summer was restricted, fall has been up and down as well. Is this job maybe up to the standard of like how difficult it was going to be with all those factors, or is there anything that caught you by surprise 5 weeks into the season?
No, I haven't really been caught by surprise because, you know, I've been in the first year of a program, you know, even going back to being a player in high school, I think maybe 9 times. And so I pretty much know what to expect in year one. And then once we were hit with COVID, then I knew immediately what the challenges were going to be. And so, you know, there hasn't been any real surprises there. They're just you know, they're just challenges, and you know, that we have to adjust and we have to adapt, and you know we have to do what we can do within the parameters and the protocols and all that stuff that we have. And I really you know, don't believe in really making excuses or you know, or for things. I just can't go there for whatever reason. That's just me. I just don't do it. I mean, we have the ability in my mind to be able to play better football. If we take care of the ball, we eliminate foolish penalties, we win the field position battle, and we, you know, continue to work on our technique and fundamentals and play more physically, then I believe that we can have success. And that's with all of the COVID and the no spring ball, no off-season conditioning program, you know, guys banged up, not in the, you know, guys, you know, playing young guys, all that. With all that being said, I still expect us to play better.
Our next question goes to Matt Charbonneau of the Detroit News.
Mel, I was wondering where you, after you're able to review the game film, where you see that, how both quarterbacks played, how you analyze it after that. And then is this a week where you could see that competition continuing? Could you see making a change there heading into Maryland?
Yeah, I mean, it was a mixed bag with both quarterbacks, and so you know, we're gonna go through the week. It's really early in the week. We haven't even put the pads on yet. We'll do that later on today, and you know, we'll see how it goes. You know, there's nothing set in stone on this team, so you know, every position is an evaluation every day. Practice, you know, I watch every bit of practice tape. You know, I watch the walk-ons. You know, we watch everyone. We're evaluating everyone, and we're gonna go with who we think gives us the best chance to win. But you know, we'll see how the week goes. You know, that's how we're approaching it. And Rocky and Peyton, you know, we've communicated what they've been communicated with. So, you know, there's no gray. You know, we know how we're gonna go about this week.
And just real follow-up quickly, is that a tougher call to make when you got a guy like Rocky who's been around and is really respected as a leader in the room? Is it tougher to make that call if you feel like you need to, or does that not really factor into it?
No, I mean, all of the calls that we make in terms of who starts games, you know, they're all important, you know, and we don't take them lightly, and especially at that position. So, but you know, obviously, you know, we'll make a decision and we'll go. I mean, that's you know, that's the nature of what we're doing. You know, we have to make decisions based upon the information that we have, and that's really, you know, it's a combination of, you know, practice and like you talked about, you know, leadership and confidence and, you know, just performance and things like that in the film room, and you know how the week is going. So, you know, we meet every day and we watch all the film and we talk, we communicate. So, you know, we'll make a decision, then we'll go.
Next question goes to Matt Wenzel with M Live.
Hey Mel, obviously the first 2 weeks, I think 27 points each game, only 7 the last 2 games combined. And you talk about obviously the turnovers stand out, but is there any point now where you're a month into the season where you can maybe switch up things what you're doing offensively, like you said on Saturday, as far as evaluating everything, and then being maybe installing more as you get into the season and try and tweak that a little bit?
Yeah, it's we're always, every game we look and we have to evaluate what our opponent, what they do defensively, and then we put together a game plan that we think uh, gives us the best chance to take advantage of what they do. Um, and so we're going to continue. We're going to continue to do that. When we look at the tape and we know what the play is and we know what the assignments are, and we see the execution of a play or the lack of execution, like it's obvious to us that there's plays out there to be made, and we don't have a lot of margin for error. So if one guy doesn't do what he's supposed to do, we usually don't have a successful play. But even in this against Indiana, I mean, our players could see it. We could see it. We knew it during the game. It's like there's plays out there, and we just have to execute those plays. There's not a scheme issue. It's an execution issue. And being able to read the play out, make the play, or whether make the blocking assignment, or just basically just get the job done on a consistent basis. So I feel good about our game planning. We're really going to be focused on execution, cutting down on the mental errors, and that will give us more consistency. And then obviously taking care of the football. You'd be shocked as when you watch the coach's copy of some of the plays that are out there that we left on the field. Not to take any credit away from Indiana, they have a really good football team, but at the same time, when we execute, we're able to make plays, and that's been against anybody we played. Even the first drive of the second half of the Iowa game, we drive out on the field and score. It's all about execution. We're just not consistent.
And Jaden's a guy that we heard about for more than a year, dating back to previous staff and from players talking about what he did in practice. He obviously gives you a weapon on offense. What have you seen from him through a month?
Jaden Reed?
Yes.
Yeah, Jaden's a good player, and he's young and he's learning. He practices hard. He plays with toughness. He's a consistent performer. Like, what you're going to get from him, day in and day out in terms of his effort and how he goes about, his practice and things like that. So, he's certainly a guy that we look to get the ball to, because the key to it is, finding ways to get the ball to your playmakers. And our wide receiving crew is a crew that is a group that have shown that it can make plays. And so, but I like him. I like him as a player. I like being around him. I like coaching him. I like him as a he's a good team guy. I'm glad we got him. I'm really excited about like what he can become. As he continues to develop as a player. Who knows how good he can be.
Thanks, Mel.
Next question goes to Lindsey Huddleston.
Hello, Mel. I know you are laser focused on Maryland right now, but considering we're halfway through your first year this season, and there's talk of transfer portal and things like that, and you use terms like dealing in truth, what message can you give to the fans about the future talent transition that the Mel Tucker era is going to start to experience? Yeah,
that's a great question. Because we're battling and building at the same time. It's battle and build. So as we're developing the team that we have, we're also recruiting, every single day to bring in players that we feel like can help us be successful, on and off the field. So, we're doing that. And then obviously the portal is part of college football. You got the high school kids, and then you got the the undergrad portal guys, you got the grad transfers, you have junior college guys. And so, you know, we look everywhere for players that we believe are a good fit for us. And we look to acquire those players. And at the same time, when you evaluate your current team, you know, ultimately you're deciding who's a good fit on this team. You know, who has the traits and the characteristics, you know, talent, you know, the toughness, mental and physical toughness, you know, the attention to detail, sense of urgency, love of the game, you know, who has those traits, those characteristics that you need to have on your team to be successful. And so, you know, ultimately, you know, there's transition, not only acquiring guys to the team, but there's also guys that, you know, ultimately, you know, may transition out, just because of, you know, there's a certain type of culture and certain type of player that we need to have here. And, you know, that's really non-negotiable. So, you know, everything's an evaluation, and halfway through the season, you know, right at this point, we have a pretty good idea of you know, who can do what. And so, yeah, obviously, you know, you can anticipate seeing some movement on our roster, whether it's you know, portal related or otherwise.
Okay, and as a very quick follow-up, does that mean non-traditional Michigan State type players may have an opportunity to play here, or it will just be something that we've seen before?
If you could just give me a little more clarification on that.
Yes, in my role, I'm in touch with a lot of young people, and people either say we've heard from a school like a Michigan State or Michigan, or we haven't even heard from them, but they may be very talented. So, I mean, are you turning over every stone, or is it going to be pretty much same places and regions as before?
No. We turn over every stone. We cast a broader net. It's a lot more work to do it that way, but we cast a broader net. Like if you want to sign 25 guys, it's typically an 8-to-1 ratio on offers. Like you got to offer 200 guys. You know, we're always well over 300 offers per class, and so you know, it could be West Coast, East Coast. We go down to the South. Obviously, we want to start here in our state. We're fighting for the hearts and the minds of our high school coaches and our in-state prospects as well, just to show them that, you know, what the difference is now with, you know, how we do things and compared to the past. And so, and anyone that has a player, you know, that we evaluate those players and try to get back to those high school coaches or anyone as fast as we can. And we're always on the phone, you know, just looking for anyone that we think might have a chance, and we get the film evaluated. And so we're looking everywhere for guys every day, actually.
Every day. All right. Thank you for that, Coach. Have a good day.
Yep. You too. Thanks.
Next question goes to Rico Beard with 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit.
Hey, Coach, you spoke about the quarterbacks earlier in this press conference, and, you know, 7 points in the last 2 games. Are you pretty much going to work this out and figure this out with Rocky and Peyton Thorne, or will there be opportunities for Theo Day and Noah Kim to maybe get some action? Yeah,
that's a possibility, you know, because, you know, it's those guys take reps in practice too, you know, so that there's certainly possibilities for guys to step in there. I mean, you see guys at other positions that are getting opportunities to play, you know, guys that are showing up. I mean, like you see Jello Gross out there playing the nickel spot. He's a true freshman. You see Davion Williams out there. You see the emergence of Jalen Hunt. You know, we're seeing guys playing different positions. We're seeing, you know, freshman receivers that are getting opportunities to play. There's guys, you know, tight ends that are playing like Tyler Hunt and guys like that are, you know, getting opportunities to play. You see guys on special teams that are starting to show up. And so Petrowski was in the game last week and did a good job in a couple plays he was in. So, he may have he earned some more reps and things like that. So, it's nothing set in stone. I mean, it's compete and show us what you can do and earn your spot. Earn your playing time. Earn your right to be able to even stay on the team. Because this is not like a recreational type of situation. This is compete to play, compete to stay.
Thanks, Coach.
Next question goes to Kellen Buddy with WILX.
Hey, Coach, going back to Justin's questions at the beginning, is there any concern if this game still goes on with the COVID scare at Maryland? Is there any concern with your team going down there that there could be a bit of a lack of control of the virus and that, it might spread a little more when you guys are down there?
Yeah, I don't have that type of concern because of our medical, protocols and what the Big Ten has done, overall. And we're tested we do antigen tests 6 days a week. We've been doing that since I think September 30th. And so, myself and our medical staff and our doctors and everything, we're not going to put ourselves in a situation that we think is unsafe. So if in fact we're able to play and we travel and we go there, that means that we feel like we're going into a safe environment. So right now we are preparing to play. I mean, like, it's not even crossing my mind that we're not going to play. We're not even thinking about that. We're watching the tape, meeting, installing, getting ready to practice in a couple hours and we're ready, getting ready to go. It's no different than any other week for us.
Thanks, Coach.
To Jennifer Hammond with Fox 2 in Detroit.
Hey, Coach. Nice to see you. Hope you and your family are doing okay during all this craziness.
Thank you. We're doing well. Thank you.
Good. So what I'm really curious to know is when you're in a program and you guys obviously greater than where the record is right now, how do you sell to them what there is to play for and to get young kids motivated, especially in such a crazy time, with not even knowing perhaps if certainty and craziness going on and where the record is? How do you sell to them? We've got a lot to play for and it's important.
Yeah. You were cutting in and out a little bit, but I think I got the gist of it. And so, it's with this group of guys, that's not hard to do. Like I said, the first day I got here, if you love football, I probably like you. And, guys that love football, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter the circumstance, they just want to play. And so, that's the type of group that we have. Like I said earlier, they continue to work hard. These guys will not quit. And they're engaged, and they know that there's room to get better, and they can. When you show them the tape of a game or a practice, and you say, "Okay, listen, this is what you were supposed to do. If you would do that, then you see what success you should have or we should have," and it's right there. It's just plain as day. And so if a player believes that he can actually do that, then I don't see why he wouldn't be motivated to come to practice and work on that and be ready to have an opportunity on Saturday to show that he can do it in a game on a consistent basis. So, motivating guys that are not motivated. If there's guys that are not motivated, someone asked me last week after the game, how do you keep the attention? If I've got if I can't, if there's an attention issue or you're not motivated, then you're not going to be even at practice. You're not going to be in the game. You're not even traveling. Like, you're not going to be on the team. Because it's not about having to talk you into playing or motivate you to play and things like that. That's not what this is. That's not even part of it. Guys that are here want to play. They want to practice. We're going to go out. We're going to put the pads on today. We're going to put the pads on tomorrow. We're going to go out there. We're going to play. We're going to work on our physicality, our pad level, our hands, our fundamentals, and guys are going to give effort. And if they don't give effort and they don't want to be, then they're going to be excused. They're going to be removed. We don't have time for that. This is Big Ten football. I mean, you're here for a reason to play. It's just not an optional situation. It's a requirement that you go out there and you give great effort to get better. If you're not out there to get better, you're not out there to compete and be the best, then you're wasting time. So why waste time? Just cut bait. But I'm not saying that. But they know that. I mean, they know that, and we talk about it. You step in here, come here ready to work, and get better. If you're not ready to do that, then this is not for you, because this is not easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Thank you very much.
Our next question goes to Audrey Dahlgren with WLNS.
Hi, Mel. I was just wondering, going back to the attitude and dealing in the truth a little bit, what are those conversations like at practice as you approach week 5 with a 1-3 record? Is it obviously, you need to work harder? I mean, just what are those truth conversations that you're speaking to?
Right. The record doesn't matter. It's a new week. It's all about, what do we have to do today to get better? And then you hone in on that. Specifically what you talk to the players, what technique, or is it a better understanding of the scheme, note taking. We talk to guys about rest and recovery, sleep, what are you doing in the weight room? All those types of things, mental toughness, pushing through, bumps and bruises, all those types of things. Those are the types of conversations, and then watching the film and showing them when they do it right. I mean, guys like to see themselves improve, because that's what it's all about. So, it's just, you're not trying to trick guys. I mean, that's one thing that I do know, and I've learned over the years, and I've always known this: you cannot fool players, college or pro players. You can't fool them. You can't trick them. You can't sprinkle magic dust on them, whatever. You just gotta tell them, hey, this is what it is, and show them a pathway to get better. And as long as the players know that you know what you're doing and you're telling them the right thing, they'll listen to you. And then if they put the work in, and you're putting the work in with them, they're putting the work in, then they improve. And if they have the ability to do it, some guys can't do it, and then you find that out too. But I look for. Maybe I'm a little crazy, but I actually like, trying to figure things out and trying to find a way to get better when it's tough, and everything's hitting the fan. I like kind of hunkering down and digging in with my guys and kind of circling the wagon and just focusing on getting better and practicing and blocking everything else out. I really enjoy that, because once you start to turn the corner, and you see the improvement as a team, there's no better feeling than that. There's a lot of gratification. That is a sense of accomplishment. So we're not focused on our record. We're focused on our next opponent and getting better.
Thank you.
We have time for a few more questions before players join us after coach. We'll go to Chris Solari, the Detroit Free Press.
Mel, good to see you. I kind of wanted to touch base with you on a couple things. One, we saw Jalen Hunt go off with an injury. Is that a long-term situation with him? And are there any other long-term injuries that you have right now?
Yeah, I saw him. I saw him go off as well. I was out there with him, and then he was able to practice yesterday.
And any other long-term issues injury-wise?
Yeah, we've got some guys that it's taking a while for them to get back. But we're going to go with the guys that are available. The guys that are out are working hard to get back as soon as they can. They do a great job in the training room. We check. We meet with Sally every morning at 9:30, and she gives us a report, and we know what guys are doing, what their plans are, what modifications we need to make in the weight room for them, and working hard, to get them back. But some guys, depending on their situation, can get back sooner than others.
And as a follow, we know two guys with Jordan Reed and with Justin Stevens opted out. Have there been any other players who have opted out for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I believe Khalifa opted out, and then we had just recently we had a couple of freshmen that have opted out. Yeah, for COVID-related reasons, and so we're supporting them. And obviously, like it goes back to what we talked about months ago. Everybody's got to make a decision, and we're supporting our players on decisions that they make relative to COVID.
Thanks, Mel.
Yep.
Our next question goes to Nick Baumgartner with The Athletic.
Hey, Mel, thanks for doing this. You said something earlier that kind of caught my ear. 9 different times you've been in the year one of a football program, whether it's a player or coach. That feels like a pretty high number for a guy who isn't very old. I'm curious, what is the thing that maybe, I know they're all different, but what is the piece of the year one process that takes the most time on task, I suppose, to get together?
That's a great question. Culture is the number one thing. It's the main thing. It's you hammering the culture, whether you need to change the culture or shift the culture. It's about how we want to go about, how we want to go about our business on a day-to-day basis. You set the expectations, set the standards, whether they're in the weight room, in the classroom, on the field, all those things. Culture is the number one thing, could be, because that's the foundation upon which you build your program on. There's a set of standards and a way of doing things, and you recruit to that. You hold guys accountable to that, and you hammer it every day. And that's and you have to be relentless with that, because that's changing behavior, and habits and things like that. Is that that's not something that happens overnight, especially with a large number of players, when you're dealing with like over 100 players, and then support staff around them, and all that's the number one thing is the culture.
Thanks, Mel.
Yeah.
We have time for a couple more. We'll go to Jim Comparoni with Spartan Magazine.
Hey, Mel, thanks for taking the call, the question. I appreciate it. Hey, can you expand a little bit on some of the building blocks you've seen in terms of personnel, young players that have come to the forefront a little bit? It looks like in the defensive line, there's some young players that are making players on a consistent basis. Can you expand on the progress they're making?
Yeah, we have some stoutness in our interior defensive line. Some guys are starting to come around, which is really good to see. It's very gratifying, and it's motivating to them and to the staff. Jalen Hunt, for example, is a kid that's made some strides. I saw, Mallory is looking for consistency, but I thought that he made some strides in this last game. And so, along with with Naquan, and then and Slade, and then Maverick, is in the mix. That's you got 4 or 5 guys that you can roll in there, and play stout, football in the interior part of the line there. So, that's certainly a bright spot, and that's very encouraging. And so, those guys, looking to build depth and have as many guys to play in the trenches, offense and defense, offensive line, defense line is critically important. And then also recruiting big people that can move people, that's that's a big part of the process,
All right. Thanks for your time.
Yep, you got it.
We have time for two more before players will join the call. We'll go to Rico Cooney with Spartan Magazine.
Good afternoon, Coach. Hey, can you talk a little bit about Michael Dowell's progression? Watching him, it seems that he's gotten better and better every week and has become a real asset to your to not only the secondary but the defense. Can you just talk a little bit about his progression and how he's become or trying to make himself a player that you have to have out on the field?
Yeah, I like Mike. I like his approach. He can play multiple positions, and so and as he's learning more about the scheme and where he fits, and he's improving, and so he's a guy that I think is going to continue to improve because he's going to put the work in, and like his care factor is really high, so and when he doesn't make plays or when he doesn't play well, it really, really bothers him, which is the way it should be. So I'm not surprised that you've noticed that he's improved and he's really worked really hard at his game, and I think he's a good team guy. It's not just he wants to play well for himself, but he wants to play well for our team. So we're going to continue to work with him. That's why I keep mentioning our medical staff and all the protocols and what we're able to do in our behavior modification and that we hammer every day. It allows us to continue to practice and then play. And if we can't practice and we can't play, we can't get better, And so he's taking advantage of these opportunities to make himself a better player, and we're helping him with that.
Just as a quick follow-up, you said different positions. How many different positions have you had him at as far as, I guess, down in the box or back in coverage?
Yeah. He can play the nickel position. He can play strong. He can play free. He doesn't play corner.
Thank you.
Our last question for Coach Tucker goes to Stephen Brooks of 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Mel, good to see you. Going off that a little bit, the nickel position is new for these guys that have come back, obviously, with this scheme that you guys have put in. Could you just sort of break down that position to its core in terms of what you were looking at and an ideal fit there? Obviously got a lot of different responsibilities, and we've seen a lot of different players, skill sets, body types play there already. What goes into that position, and what's sort of the prototype, I guess?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if there's a prototype. That's an important position. I'm used to being in nickel and dime, actually having 6 DBs on the field quite a bit, because that gives you the ability to match up and play multiple coverages and be able to match personnel and play man coverage when you need to and things like that. So but that position is very involved because it has linebacker qualities to it, in terms of run fits and things like that, and setting the edge on the perimeter. And it also has you have to be able to cover man to man. You have to be able to drop zone. Sometimes in some schemes you can even be in a deep part of the field, and then you're called upon to blitz, at times. And then you have to be very adjustable to shifts and motions and different types of alignments. And so, there's a lot of work that goes into getting guys in a position where they can play that. And you need to have at least 3 guys that can do that because of injuries and things like that. And then at some point, we may even be able to evolve to some type of dime package where you can get more guys on the field, more speed on the field, and some of these passing situations will be able to match up when people put more receivers in the game. And also the nickel spot is critically important because sometimes you don't have an opportunity to match personnel and sub because of the speed of the game or whatever. And sometimes you may have a defensive back that's actually really literally playing a linebacker position out there against some of these 2 tight end, 2 receiver sets, and it's got to be stout and it's got to hold up. So that's a very valuable position. And you get guys that can play that spot, multiple guys that can play that spot. That's like gold. And everyone in the NFL is looking for guys that can play in there because it's hard to find guys that can do that at a high level.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep, you got it.
That's all the time we have for questions, Coach. We really appreciate the time today. We'll have players shortly, but thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate everything you're doing. I'm pretty sure I'm pulling that we can get this game in, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys this weekend. So stay safe. Go green.
Thank you, Coach. Your kindness is appreciated.
Thanks, Mel.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Jaden Reed will be joining us momentarily. He's got about 10 minutes. And then Michael Dowell, scheduled around 1:15. I'll see if he can get on a little bit earlier, but that's the tentative schedule I have for right now. Jaden's actually going to be a couple minutes. He just said he had to run and do something real quick. So we'll be joined by him here in a few minutes.
All right, guys, I'm here on the call.
All right, well, we're joined with by Jaden Reed. Jaden, thanks for taking the time today. We'll
No problem.
with some questions before Jaden has to head over to the football building to get ready for meetings and practice. So we'll start with Chris Solari with the Detroit Free Press. Chris.
Hey, Jaden, good to see you. Last week you got to finally get out there with Peyton a little bit. I guess, what was that experience like, and how much did you sense the improv and kind of the work that you guys have done for multiple years now together showing on the field?
It was pretty natural, honestly. I've been playing with him for so long. I'm just used to it. Like, when he's out there, it's really nothing new to me. So it was really good getting out there with him. Obviously, I haven't been out there with him in a few years, so it was good to get out there with him this week or last week.
Can you kind of, as a follow, maybe break down the difference between what Peyton brings versus what Rocky brings in terms of leadership and just the individual talents that they have?
I think they're both good leaders, honestly. Obviously, they both show that they're both capable of getting the job done. You know what I'm saying? I have trust and belief in both of them. So I believe in whoever's out there with me. That's how I look at it.
Our next question goes to Rico Cooney with Spartan Magazine.
Hey, Jaden, how you doing? Obviously, you noticed guys in the secondary, and we're going to have Dowell on after you. Talk about what you've noticed from him out on the practice field and, the fact that he can play three positions. But tell me what you've noticed when you've been able to kind of watch him in the secondary in practice.
Oh, no question. He's relentless, plays hard, never makes excuses. He's very coachable guy, great dude. And he just does what's told. He gets the job done. Works hard every day.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Next question goes to Matt Wenzel with MLive.
Hey, Jaden, last time we talked to you, I think it was September, and you were looking forward to obviously finally being able to play again, 4 games in.
Yep.
What's your take on being able to be back out in the field and being able to make plays?
Honestly, it's just a blessing to be back out there, to play the game I love. Continue to bond with my teammates, you know what I'm saying? Enjoy the process of this whole thing, whether good or bad. We're always learning something out of this, and we can build from stuff that we're learning from the game. So it's just a blessing of being out there. I'm very thankful. I have no regrets. Still have no regrets. I believe in this team, and I'm ready to keep fighting, and we'll keep fighting together and figure out what we need to make this team what it needs to be.
And before the season, you predicted that the vertical passing attack would be a big difference from last year, and we've seen that at times. I guess how do on a week-to-week basis? I know we didn't see as much of it last week, but what's your take on how that's evolved this year with Rocky or if it's Peyton?
I love it so far. No matter who's out there, we have the guys to do that, and you guys have seen that, obviously. So all it is really, we just have to keep executing. We have to fix MAs, the small things, because the small things matter. And when we get to short third down situations, we got to all be on the same page. You know what I mean? Convert on those downs and stuff like that. So it's really execution. That's all it is. Everybody's seen the glimpses of what we can do. We can attack vertical. We can run at times. We can. We can do it. So we just got to keep pushing forward, keep working in practice, enjoy the process, and that'll get the job done.
Thanks, Jaden.
Our next question goes to Justin Rose at WXYZ in Detroit.
Hey, Jaden, you were around for the last coaching staff and whatnot, and Coach Tucker talks a lot about, instilling the culture and shifting it from what it was to what he wants it to be. Not asking you to single anybody else out, but are you seeing that some guys are all in and then other guys are struggling to find with that? I mean, is that natural to feel that way?
Can you like go further in depth with that question?
Sure.
Explain it different. Yeah.
I mean, he's been, I guess, take me through what culture shifts you've noticed from the previous regime to this one first.
Just everybody buying in all together. You know what I'm saying? He talks a lot about the process. It's a day-to-day process. It doesn't happen next week. It happens now. You know what I'm saying? So he really harps on that. Just focus on where your feet are, which I think makes a ton of sense because you can't play the game next week today. You know what I mean? So just focusing on where you are. That's what he talks about a lot, and I think that's very important. I think that's very helpful.
So when
to
you
the
have
team and players.
So when you have someone, who's instilling that new maybe way of thinking that other players maybe didn't come in expecting to have, as a leader on the team, are you trying to help guys along as much as you can?
Yes. Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Like he always preached that you should pass it on to the next man, pass it on to your teammates. If they're not understanding something, you should be there to help because it takes all, not one. So.
And he also harped upon the record, and he's not particularly worried about the record. I mean, what about?
Neither am I. Yep. Neither am I.
Why not?
Because it's all about building. You know what I'm saying? You can't fix the past. You got to focus on what's ahead. So, focusing on what happened back then won't help you in the future. So, that's why I'm focusing on what's moving forward and not what's behind us.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Our next question goes to Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Jaden. Hope you're doing well, man. I want to ask you, you obviously played back at Western as a young receiver, a true freshman. We've seen Terry Lockett. Ricky's obviously having a big role. I think we've seen Montori too. What have you noticed about those guys? I know this year's kind of all hands on deck, but what have you noticed from those guys early that have been able to get themselves on the field?
Those guys are very talented. They're talented young. It's not much more to it, really. They have us there to help them on, the playbook, stuff like that. So, obviously we have a few guys out, CJ Hayes, Reese Nelson. We also have a few guys down, but those guys are talented. They've showed that they're capable of getting the job done, and they earn their spot. They earn their role on the team. Yep.
Looks like we have time for a couple more, and we'll go back to Chris Solar, the Detroit Free Press.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to, just with everything that you guys have gone through as a program, all the way back to the spring with the change in the coaches, the shutdown before spring practice, the shutdown this summer, psychologically, how you guys been able to process and deal with that? Because I can't imagine it's been an easy situation.
Of course, yeah. Obviously that is very tough. No spring ball, opposed to a lot of other teams that did. It's been very tough for us. It didn't come easy. We all had to stick together. The coaches made a plan. We just had to trust it. You know what I mean? So we had to trust what they were telling us and stick with that plan and just keep fighting through the whole thing, regardless of what was happening, because it was very tough. We did lose a lot of time to learn the schemes, and we didn't have a full winter strength conditioning program with the new coaching staff. So it was very tough, but we just had to trust the process that the coaches laid out for us. So
what about in a week like this where, obviously we know Maryland had their game canceled last week. You guys, we know that you're preparing to play, but in the back of your mind, you also know that last week's game was canceled. Is there anything just from the psychological standpoint of how do you approach that, I guess?
Well, if you prepare to get ready, you don't have to get ready. So, we're preparing as if we were playing, regardless of the situation. And even if we don't have a game, I'm sure we'll still have practice, Our practices are harder than the game. So I'm sure we'll be prepared for whatever's thrown at us. We just got to like I said, the process. We just have to just stick with that and trust it, and we'll be ready for whatever's thrown our way.
Our last question goes to Colton Pouncey with The Athletic.
Hey, Jaden. With you and Peyton both playing Saturday, I'm just wondering, did you hear from anyone back home after that game? Maybe I'm sure that was a cool moment, just considering
Oh yeah,
your history with him. So, what was the reaction like to see both you guys on the field?
no doubt. There was a lot. There was a lot going on back home. I mean, a lot of our friends and like people that know us back in our area. There was a lot of like social media posts about like the excitement about us being out there together. That's obviously always fun. Like that's my brother. I played with him. I've known him for a long time. His family's around before my dad passed away. They got a chance to meet my dad. So his family is very important to me. I love his family. Their family to me, honestly. So it was a very exciting moment to see smiles on people's faces. It was a great moment.
Sounds good. Thanks for joining us, Jaden. That's all the time we have right now. We really appreciate you.
Yep. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, JD.
Yep. You guys have a good one.
All right, I have Michael Dowell on deck at 1:15. I'll see if he can join us a few minutes early, but he'll at least be on by then. So I'll keep you posted.
Hello?
Hi, Mike. Thanks for joining us. Right on time, 1:15. I like it. I like it. All right, well, we're joined now by redshirt sophomore safety Michael Dowell. We'll take questions in the chat. We have about 10 minutes. If anybody has any questions, throw it in the chat and we'll get started. We'll start with Matt Wenzel with M Live.
Hey, Michael, just wondering, making your first start last week, how you've seen your role kind of progress over the last couple of seasons and what it's like playing in the, being able to play, like Mel talked about, multiple spots in a new defensive scheme.
Yeah, like you said, making my first start last week was a great experience. To kind of be out there for the majority of the defense snaps was also, something I really appreciate. It was obviously a milestone, to be a starter or to start here at Michigan State. Being able to play a lot of different positions, we're running more of a 4-2-5 here at Michigan State, getting more DBs on the field, it's just helpful. And I think, as a whole defense, we're doing a really good job just embracing that.
Did you hear from your brothers after the game?
Yeah, I told them, before the game that, I was probably going to get the start. And then, they just keep always trying to coach me up, always trying to, critique things, give me coaching points and things like that because, they were starters here for multiple years, and that's the level that I'm trying to get to and trying to strive for.
Thanks, Michael.
Yep.
Next question goes to Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Michael, hope you're doing well. I wanted to ask you about this nickel spot that's in this defense. You've played there a bit. I don't think it's the only spot. I know it's not the only spot you played. Just as a defensive back, what's demanded of that position? What sort of skill sets and qualities are needed there? I asked Coach Tucker the same thing, and he talked about like versatility and just sort of being able to do it all. Just what's your read on that position and what it takes to be good at that spot?
Yeah, I think, we have a lot of guys in our defensive backfield that can play that spot, our defensive backs room that can play that spot. But that spot, it's a hybrid between a linebacker, corner type safety. So just being able to do a lot of different things, like Coach Tucker said, be able to cover, run, have a high football IQ, I think are all intangibles that go with that spot.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Next question goes to Chris Solar, the Detroit Free Press.
Michael, good seeing you. From a standpoint of preparing to make that shift into the 4-2-5, how did you guys approach that during the spring and summer? When did Coach Tucker say that's where we're going and that's what you guys need to start focusing on? And how were you able to do that without really getting on the field until September in a large capacity?
Yeah, I think, all quarantine, we were back at home, just kind of breaking down our, especially with Coach Tresh coaching the safeties and nickels, not just, you're doing this on this player, on this coverage, but why you're doing it. Kind of having the understanding behind why everything is happening in this defense has really helped everyone in our defensive backfield.
When did you guys learn that you guys were making that shift? And I guess from a defensive back standpoint, how do you embrace that? I mean, I'd imagine the more that you have, the better the speed, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, we learned that fairly early. I think before we went home for quarantine, we kind of knew we were running a 4-2-5. And then as a defensive backfield, we just all embraced it. Trey, Xavier, those guys, we've all just been trying to help each other, just trying to coach each other up when we're on the sideline or in the game.
Our next question goes to Audrey Dahlgren with WLNS.
Hi, Michael. We asked, or I guess I should say, Coach Tucker brought up an interesting thing about attitude and dealing with the truth in a sense. And what are those conversations like at practice? I guess, week 5 into the season, and then with a 1-3 record, what does he mean when he comes, being realistic with the truth?
Mm-hmm. I think, what he says about that is, he always preaches then, now, next. So, right now we're in a situation where, yeah, we are 1-3, but, what can we do next? The next that we think we could do, we could go to practice today, we could prepare for Maryland, and we could just keep trying to get better. So just kind of facing what the situation that we're in, but also embracing the opportunities that we have left.
are your thoughts just generally too on Coach Tucker and the new staff and what they have brought to the table versus, I guess, well, what's your thought in general just with Coach Tucker and the new staff?
Yeah, Coach Tucker, he's a great guy. He's brought a lot of new staff members. I work most with Coach Tressel, and that was someone who was on the previous staff. But a lot of the guys that Coach Tucker has brought over has just really been a light to the program. I'm happy they're here with us.
Thank you.
Our next question goes to Rico Cooney with Spartan Magazine.
Hey, Michael, how you doing, man?
Doing good.
Hey, talk to me a little bit about, I guess, your prep and knowing that, you could be in one of three positions. And then talk a little bit about how much your brothers helped you prepare for this role as far as, they always had a just do your job kind of mentality when they were here. So talk a little bit about that and I guess how much that helped you be able to get in this situation where not only you start, but you're the coaches trust you as far as responsibility for three different positions.
Yeah, I think that, that just comes down to preparation. That started off all the way back in quarantine, just trying to learn as much of this new defense as I could, I think has really helped me. And then also having my brothers, a lot of things that they just try to tell me is just, keep working, just keep going, it doesn't matter where you're at right now, just keep working and things will, work out for you.
And just as a quick follow-up for that, your brothers used to always talk about the competition that they share just, inside the team. So how much do they push you as far as that competition is concerned in the Dowell household?
Yeah. My dad, he always says like a push-pull effect, that I push them and they pull me. So, there's a lot of competition. I told Coach Tucker the other day, we have, as a team, we missed spring ball. But, back at home during quarantine, it was like me and my brothers, we almost had a spring ball because we had half of the back seven. So we were doing walkthrough. We were talking about different things. So, the competition between me and them, even if they're not up here, always is going to exist and it's always going to make us each better no matter what we're dealing with or no matter what fashion of life that we're in.
Okay, thank you.
Like we have time for a couple more. We'll go to Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Michael, I don't know if it's you as much as your brothers maybe, but I think you guys all know Sean Crawford, who over at Notre Dame, and he's played a lot of nickel. I don't know. I was just curious if you've talked to him much about that position. Obviously, you guys are sort of different builds and everything, but that's a position I know he had played for a long time over there. Have you gotten any tips from him?
I haven't really talked to him too much about that position. But yeah, Sean's a great friend of ours, and we work out with him when we go back home and things. But I haven't really talked to him too much about that position.
Gotcha. Thank you.
For our last question, we'll go to Chris Solar, the Detroit Free Press.
Kind of, obviously, you guys, when everything restarted again, you jumped into the daily testing regimen. How has that been? I mean, kind of walk us through what a daily testing protocol is like for you guys and how you guys go through each day, each week, pregame, postgame with that.
Yeah, so during this time, it's obviously blessed. We're all blessed to play, whatever opportunity we get. And the testing is a big part of that. So what the testing looks like is we come in same time every day, and you do a little nose swab test. You have to wait about 15 minutes to get your results, and you carry on throughout the day. But it's really, sometimes you got to take yourself out of the situation and realize how blessed, we are in a pandemic to get tested every day. And that's something, I'm really thankful for.
Sounds good. Well, Michael, I really appreciate you joining us today. I know you got a busy schedule getting ready for meetings and practice. So thanks for taking the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you for joining the call. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye.